So Sam, tell me a little bit about yourself as a coach.
My friends, I'm a self-mastery coach, and this sometimes is questioned on what is self-mastery. I can view self-mastery as a lot of things. One of the easiest way I can understand self-mastery is being able to manage myself in my mind, in my emotions, in my resources, in my communication with my friends, and that 4 pillars inside of psychology, neuroscience, physiology, and psychology. We put it all together and we get self-mastery.
Appreciate the way that you're taking a really balanced approach in that you've figured out the things that are important to you and developed a system off of that. So as a self-mastery coach, who are the people that you primarily talk to?
This has been a journey that has been ongoing for discovering that and finding my niche, or the people that I help and the people that I can serve the most. I would say as of recently, I've even changed that like 20 times. But as of today, I feel most called to helping aspiring or new digital nomads inside of people who want to find their purpose, who want to build relationships, who want to discover themselves inside of self-mastery, and then also be able to travel the world and be a nomad, all doing this at the same time. I like to use 4, as in, like, you've heard me already talk about like 4 corners and four varieties, and earlier what I discussed is just very similar on the way that you manage your mind, body, emotions, and these all have to do with everyday life. And I could help someone in their everyday life very easily. I've worked with people in their 60s, and I've worked with people that are in their 17, 18.
Incredible.
This is the balance that I'm working towards, to see who I support the most and how I can get them the results of self-mastery, whatever goals that they want, because I always view that it's you versus you. I always view that because that is truly the only path that is blocking you. If it's anything, it's not the way that the world runs. It's not the way that someone else does things, or the way how you're not getting enough followers or likes, or you're just unhappy with the way that people do things. It's always you versus you. And so I can help a lot of people. I don't want to say that I can help everyone, because if I can help everyone, I can help no one.
Right.
I really do well with people that are starting something new and trying to find removal of self-sabotage, removing of toxic shame. That is who I can support with the most, because all it starts with is clarity, and then finding the clarity and making yourself consistent on that clarity to eventually creating confidence. And that confidence is not about macho ego, but it's about how you carry yourself in every single moment that is a comfortable version of you in your own skin. And to wrap that that box up, it's to share with others that it can be people in their they're outside of college now, and they're trying to jump on a new path of traveling the world, finding their purpose, and exploring the ways to find jobs and be happy in these ways.
Incredible, man. So talk to me more about self-mastery. Where did your self-mastery journey begin?
Well, it's a tough one. I have been on my path for a long time, but when I first dove into understanding personal growth, that's where it first came from. Okay. It was when I was 18 years old. I joined a company that was selling cutlery, Cutco knives. Some people might hear, they know of it. And this was absolutely the best thing for me at my time in my life. I was always craving approval from others and my parents and my peers, because I was the one being bullied. And as we've looked inside of our inner child just today, this aspect of when I was a child, I was very chaotic and very abrupt. I would want to do things that just to cause chaos in some shape or form. I was really looking to understand why I was like that. And how that came to be was me understanding human behavior. And so when I look at human behavior, I see a lot of things around how to manage your emotions, how to manage your mind, how to talk to people, and why people do the things that they do. Where does it come from? And for me, it just started to just show up more and more and more in my life on how I can start to be more mindful of myself, of my speech, of my actions, of my thoughts, and my feelings. And all of these started to play a role in the way that I was even acting. So I was starting to be more mindful and start to meditate eventually. And I got to a point where I was like, wow, this is really making me feel amazing. And I don't have all this shame anymore. I'm feeling more comfortable to be me, and I'm willing to be me without the validation of others. And so it was something that I was looking for myself. I wanted it for myself. And then it became something that I found was super easy for me to dive into, and I just wanted to learn more and more and more and more about it, that it just became a natural part of who I am. Now I have such non-negotiables with my life, the way that I even carry myself and tell myself like I can and cannot do things. It's not a question of if anymore. It's just me. And so this self-mastery just became a part of me. If I have groggy days and I have ideas of not wanting to wake up and not get out of bed, that's the side of me that I want to understand more. Yeah. I want to understand that inner critic. I want to understand that version of me that is telling myself I'm not good enough or not worthy enough or I need to be shameful for some reason. And understanding that is just awareness. And that awareness helps me become more able to manage myself. So a lot of what self-mastery is understanding how to manage yourself in every single area or situation to be the best version of you and to act to the best of your ability.
Self-mastery sounds like a lot for someone to take on who's just brand new starting out. So for people that you're working with, how do you break that into actionable steps when they first start?
Well, yeah, it does seem like a huge burden sometimes because it takes a lot of courage. And this is what I tell my clients that I work with. I'm like, yeah, it's going to take a lot from you. Like, I want to give you all the tools necessary to find that. And that includes diving into your values, your belief systems, understanding more about how you're feeling, and being willing to understand things like your triggers. And to be very aware of things that you've not been aware of before. And so the way that I even have set things up is to give people, the people that I work with, a list of, I've boiled it down to a lot of things as well, but also these things are quite simple. It really just starts with awareness and understanding like what you want. And those two things is exactly what you need to become a self-master. Because the way that I look at it, it's like, I have never been someone who needs coffee. And I don't want coffee. Everyone here around me likes to drink coffee.
Guilty. 2 a day.
And so this is something that I'm looking at of like, do I want coffee? Do I want to have more energy? Or what's the side effects of coffee? You know, do I need to have this crash of energy? And I start to look at this and I'm like, you know what, maybe I could have coffee on the days that I don't feel energy, but why can I not create that energy myself? I should be able to do anything that I put my mind to. Energy doesn't die. It only transfers and it moves in different shape or form. Yeah. And so by me choosing that I can create energy without without needing coffee, this is me making a choice that I am doing something that I want to do. And so is now a space for me to create that, as long as I believe that I can do that.
Right.
And so there's just simple frameworks of decisions and values and understanding like what it is that you're feeling right now, and then also to go into deeper of like, what is it that I want? Because the only things you can control in this world is your actions and your perception of how those things are. And so a lot of me as well is just giving another perception, another viewpoint in the way that I coach. Because I like to question, I like to look at a lot of different things. I'm very curious. Yeah. And when I can understand that, then I can show my clients a different side of this coin, different shade of the coin. Even if the coin is two-sided, I can maybe show them a third side. But now that action, okay, you see the third side now, what are you gonna do about it?
So help me understand how you got to where you are today. You were at Cutco Knives. This ignited your passion for self-development and self-discovery. Where are you at today as a coach, and how did you get there?
Mm-hmm. The path that led me to who I am today has been a really tricky, and it took a lot of risk and courage even for myself to step into. I mentioned before that there was a time in my life where I was like a huge critic to myself, and I was being bullied a lot because of that critic.
Yeah.
And so I didn't feel like I had the permission to do a lot of things. I was always being like told not to do things by my parents, and then whenever I would do something, it would like be bad. And so this kind of idea came into my head a bunch of the times that everything that I was doing was really bad and not good. And I needed to do better. And I needed to have more. I came to eventually discovering that within me and pushing past those beliefs and understanding like what I thought to be true, the story that I was telling myself. And that broke when I started to dive into it more. But it didn't happen right away when I started at Cutco. It was just the beginning of my understanding of personal growth and motivation and discipline and having like a why. If you know the why, you can bear any how type of situation. And so this was really amazing for me. I never learned anything about this. I never thought that I could just take care of myself in these ways and understand my emotions and have conversations with people that are not scary.
Yeah.
So I started to dive deep into this a lot more. And when I turned 19, around my, my 19th birthday, I got arrested and I went to jail. And that was the scariest moment of my life, because I thought that I was just totally doing something wrong. And on your birthday, you're like the king of the world, 19 years old.
Yeah.
It's like you're not even at your 20s yet. And I was just like trying to do everything just to be happy at that time, and taking a lot of drugs and finding what gave me that pleasure. And later that year, I became a manager, and I started to run my own business on interviewing, hiring, training, coaching, leading my own group. I hired 15 people, and they started to work for me, and I coached them and led them and helped them become salespeople. This was a really troublesome journey for me, and I was the only person doing this to my team. I was the only person leading them, and it was extremely challenging for me to lead them and have the confidence to do that. Especially after getting arrested, that year just like brought so much confusion for me, and like, what am I doing? Like, am I doing the right things? And so I didn't know how to deal with this. So I just started to smoke more, and this was the way that I would cope with it. But that was the first touch, and I really loved being able to be inspiring and motivating and helpful to people, and especially in a group situation. That's what I was doing. I led meetings. Right. I was doing one-on-ones. I was already doing this. That was so exciting for me, and to see people like, wow, I can do this. Like, I helped them set goals and figuring themselves out. This was so exciting for me. I didn't realize that this would be my path years later, but as I discovered this 75 hard, I just decided to dive into myself more and learn more about what is my potential and my capabilities through myself. And this was so profound of an experience for me, this challenge, that I opened myself up to so many possibilities. And this was like huge for me because I realized that I'm capable of so much. And I wanted to see the other people around me in my circle also be able to open themselves up this much, but no one was doing that. And so I felt called to start making 1-minute inspiration videos to my friends, and all of a sudden sharing with them, hey, like, I would love to share with you some wisdom, some 1-minute guidance. And I just started to just share all the things that I was learning and putting it out on social media. And it was very, very cringy looking at it now. But this was like me wanting to share something with people and wanting me to help, and because I felt like I was the only one doing it.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to be alone doing it. I wanted to feel like everyone else. I wanted to start a trend, like, guys, this is cool, like, this is helpful, this is amazing, like, do this for yourself. It feels good, I'm happy, and I'm learning more about myself, and it's exciting. And yeah, I felt that passion, I felt that courage in the moment to really dive into it. And that was the best thing for me at that time. And eventually I saw an ad on social media through my mentor, Rob Dial, the mindset mentor. And he basically, I jumped on a call with his associates and his team, and they were talking to me about all my motivators and my understandings for like why, what, how, who, and kind of situation. And I started to realize, like, I want to help the kids in my community, like the college community that I was around. I wanted to be showing them that there's a different way. You don't have to be like glued to your phone all the time and just be like miserable and drink and smoke all weekend, every day. There was so much more that they could tap into for themselves. And I recognized that that was like really hard, but also I didn't have any money, so I couldn't join that program at that time. And so then that program showed itself to me years later when I was ready. A few years later, I was in Arizona. I had just finished university, and I had made a lot of money from working. And I was like seeing this again, and I was like, wow. I was also trying to find like what I was going to do after college. I was like, what am I going to do? What am I passionate about? What would I like to spend my time doing? What do I spend my time doing at 2 a.m.? Yeah. These questions led me to find the answers that I was looking for and feel very aligned to jump on a call again and to make the decision to burn the boats and to fully commit to being a coach. And I invested $7,500 into a 3-month program, but it's like a lifetime program, but 3 months of coaching. Okay. That was the best experience for me to truly step into, to make a decision to be a coach. Right. And that was everything. That decision led me to who I am today, how I act, how I operate, why I'm here. One decision can change everything.
Absolutely, man. And I really like the way that you say step into being a coach. A reoccurring theme that I'm finding is that when it comes to being a coach, this isn't just a job. This isn't something that you just do. Like, becoming a coach is the embodiment of being a coach. It's stepping into that role. How did that 3-month program help you embody becoming a coach and make that shift?
The mindsets around being a coach is the toughest thing. You need to know that even if you are basically not knowing enough, you could say, or you don't have enough experience, you're not there yet, that actually means you're the perfect person as long as you know more. It's just like the end result or the outcome hasn't showed itself yet. That is totally okay. That's based on God's timing, but you can still be a coach and guide people to do that. It's like that mindset needs to be shifted for people to be a coach. Because a lot of times coaches will hold themselves back because they think that they need to know everything. They need to be perfect, and they can't have any flaws. They need to know every little detail. They have to have all the certifications, and that is totally not true. You don't need to be an all-star and a professional or a scientist. It's all just what this world wants you to believe, because there's a bunch of programs that sell this idea to have you believe that you need these, and they're just a piece of paper. It's like a diploma. And what real experience and real knowledge comes from is just doing the work yourself, because that in itself will give you the exact replica of what it means to help someone. If you are looking to help your life, and you do, then years later when you want to be a coach, that person who just went through that work is your exact client, you 3-5 years ago. Right. That is the biggest thing that has shifted for me in realizing that. But then the program taught me more about how to do the marketing and actually find clients, and that has been helpful. It didn't teach me anything about being a coach. It didn't teach me how to coach, what it means to be a consultant or a mentor or a coach or an advisee. Like, there's all these different ways that you can actually support someone. If you're going to question them, actually give them advice, like, what kind of coaching are you doing? That has been created from experience now for me. And I find that I'm just so natural at it that it's so easy for me to just step into. But it didn't find me that easily right away. And so I would recommend that people don't need to necessarily learn how to coach and learn how to find clients, and just to step into the mindset that you can have clients and you can help people, you can support people, despise how much actual experience that you have. Of like coaching someone. And I'm talking about the real experience that matters is the work that you've done yourself. That's literally it. As long as you know the things, even if you're not quite there yet, because you never can be there completely, that is the whole step to recognize, like, you can be a guide for someone. And that's huge, because you're on the path. You know a lot, you're on the path, and you're helping them each step of the way to help them discover that for themselves, right. Your client.
So a point that you touched on there is the taking action, how becoming a coach is about putting yourself out there and actually coaching. What were some of the first actions that you took?
Well, yeah, it's a great question. My coach told me at the time when I started to become a coach, he was like, you guys, change up your Instagram, start to look good, tell people that you're going to become a coach, make a huge announcement. Actually fully commit. Don't just say that you're going to be a coach and not actually do anything about it, and not prepare yourself and look like a coach. So I fixed up my Instagram. I started to delete things, and I started to make things look a little bit better, things that inspired me, and started to post these things. I eventually came to a point where I wanted to help someone. And so my mentor was like, yeah, offer free coaching. Yeah. And so that's what I did. I told people in my friend circle, and I posted it online. And I said, and this was a huge step for me as well. Like, I was 21 when I started to be a coach. And this step into that was like really scary for me. Because I was so worried about what people would think of me. And the thing is, no one really cares except yourself. It's not, you're not all jacked up as you think you are, which is such a huge relief, because all the things that you're thinking about what other people may be thinking about you, they're thinking the exact same thing every single time they make a post. And so I posted, and I said, hey, let me support someone. How can I help you guys? I would love to share some free coaching. I'm stepping into this path, and I would love to share some time and to coach you. I ended up coaching my childhood best friend for a few months as my first client, and it was really amazing. He saw progress like almost immediately. He was trying to find less reasons to be negative and more positive, and to stop vaping. And so I already saw him like during our calls to slowly like not vape as much. He was doing it all the time on our first calls, and then over the course of time, he started to not vape as much on our calls. And he eventually did a call with me that he didn't vape at all. And so I was like, wow, this is so amazing to see how he has progressed and to find more clarity for himself and understanding more about what he wants and finding his own version of self-mastery. I didn't know I was a self-mastery coach back then, but that's exactly what I've been doing. I've been helping people find out what they want and then find the steps to make those things happen. That is not involving what other people have to do with the results, but how you can take care of it by the actions and perception, like I was talking about. And that has to do with frameworks, and that was a whole huge step for him to dive into. And it was so amazing, and this is just how I kept going for a full year. I didn't have any paid clients for a full year to support me on my path. And that was really tricky for me, but I wanted to just keep refining my skill, to keep getting better, to keep doing something around this. I didn't want to give up even if it was a year. And that was something that I was super considering. I was really considering, maybe this is not cut out for me. Maybe I'm just not good at this. Maybe whatever it is. And a year later, I get a client. And it was because I started a year ago to put myself out there and to make posts and talk about it and make content, that people started to see how amazing I was and what they wanted from me and how I could help them. It just starts with showing yourself that you can do something, and it doesn't need to be all mindset and like analytical and like thinking about it and having a plan. Sometimes you just need to do it. Yeah. And it's like whatever result comes from that, that is your biggest lesson. And that's what I did.
Absolutely, man. It's that confidence that you build through taking actions. And my own story resonates that when I first started coaching, I started coaching for free and just getting out there, just like people that I knew that also worked in the space, like, hey, would you mind if I had a few coaching sessions with you so we can, like, I can just get some practice. And then when I was ready I wasn't quite ready to start like receiving money for my skills yet. But the next step for me was putting myself out there of like, hey, I am offering coaching. If anybody wants to get coached, you just have to donate to charity. It was like, hey, I'm just not quite ready. I want to build skill, but I also wanted investure. I wanted the people to be committed to the process as well, right? So there's different ways for everybody. We all have our unique journey, but it's that reoccurring theme of taking action, and the confidence that you build through taking those actions help you shift and make those mindsets, right?
Yeah.
How did you narrow down to be a self-mastery coach after it was over a year of free coaching? How long did it take you to decide that you were a self-mastery coach, and how did you narrow it down to become that?
Yeah, this was like, it first started off as a mindset coach. Because I was like, okay, who can I help? How can I help them? And all these questions started popping up in my head of how can I be a coach? And I'm glad that these questions showed up and not like, oh, can I be a coach?
Yeah.
Right? That's a huge frame. That's a huge difference in the questioning there. The way that I looked at it was mindset. And mindset can mean a lot of things. For me, at the moment in my life when I first jumped in, I was like, okay, I'm really positive. I'm really happy. I have great habits, and I have discipline. I have consistency. I can communicate with amazing tonality, and I'm really good at what I do for just being me. And so there's a lot of good mindset habits that I already have, especially in adversity and challenge. So this became the structure that I worked with at the beginning. And diving into more neuroscience, more psychology, more spiritual, more physiological, and this started to be like opening me up to a lot of different avenues. When we look at Stoicism, this philosophy, it is a lot about self-mastery. But I believe the really, really biggest part for me was when I did a Vipassana. And this Vipassana process was huge.
Powerful stuff, man.
Huge. It's like the first place where I recognize that I'm in control. I have sensations going on, and my mind and body want to tell me like, no, you got to move, you got to do something else, you got to itch this, your body is going to explode if you don't move this knee right now. And I didn't. I looked inward for that peace, that serenity, that surrender. I eventually found some understanding inside of this that it just totally makes sense for me to be what I can call self-mastery. It's me trying to manage myself. It's me working on me. It's me trying to be the best version of myself every single moment. And if you can keep doing that, you can become a master. And that's not to say like I'm a master at myself. I actually view self-mastery as just like being an intern to yourself, always being open to learning more about who you are, because there's no such thing as knowing yourself. You don't put labels on knowing who you are. You only step into knowing a certain amount to not let yourself be withholding anything back from trying something new. And so I don't know myself and I know myself at the same time. And putting these together, I can still create self-mastery. And this is a process that I had to understand more to eventually get to the point of understanding that it is self-mastery. Through a lot of different trials and errors and supporting people and what I'm good at and how I can help them. And eventually it just was like, wow, it just made sense to talk about self-mastery. Like I'm someone who's a self-mastery coach. That resonates so much with me. And it was as simple as just like doing new things inside of personal growth that got me to know more about this and more about who I like to help and what I like to do.
Yeah. I love the way that you speak about that as well. And for most coaches, it does take an exploration phase, and that you have to go out there, you're just trying things, it's undefined. But as you learn about yourself as a coach, then you can get in alignment with yourself, your values, what's important to you, and you can use that alignment to project your message. It's about exploring, learning, taking the information, learning and growing from it. Right?
Huge. It's huge. Alignment is like a big factor, because if you don't align yourself with what you like to do, it's just like, it feels like a burden when you jump on a call with someone, or it doesn't feel like you're actually helping them. And it also might come off as fake.
Yeah. One of the things that I tried that didn't work early in my coaching was I wanted to be a time management coach for really busy people, because that's who I used to be. I used to work in oil and gas. I used to work 16 hours a day and manage a bunch of people, right? And it was like, all right, I've got a bunch of skills for time management, people who have a lot going on, I can help them prioritize, do this, this, and this. And it's just like, people who have a ton going on do not care about a backpacker in Southeast Asia's opinions on how they need to slim down their life. It was just out of alignment. I was coming from a place of who I used to be, not a place of who I am now. Mm-hmm. That misalignment comes through in your messaging. So it's try the thing, but if it's not working, come back to, is this who I am, who I used to be, or who I'm going to be? Another thing that I think really speaks to me is that you were talking about how a big piece of your transition into coaching was getting coached. You bought a coaching package for 3 months to commit to this process. So many coaches are afraid to get coached in the beginning, and you need to learn from people who have done the things that you want to do.
So true.
Yeah.
Because coaches need coaches.
Coaches need coaches.
Therapists need therapists.
Therapists absolutely need therapists.
You're hearing it's not just about how can you achieve your own goals, but also it's about being able, it depends on what kind of coach you're going to get. Yeah. Are you going to get a business coach? That's a whole different thing. Are you going to get a spiritual coach? are you going to get a self-mastery coach? Like, what is it that you want to be able to be coached on? And are you willing to be coached? That's a huge question as well. But just as a therapist hears things from their clients and here's a huge amount of emotional baggage, those therapists need someone to talk about that as well with.
Right.
And it's a lot of energy that's being, like, some people who are not coaches, that path of being a coach takes a lot of courage. And I said that already, but it really does, because you're taking on like responsibility for other people in some way or form. Right. Like, the way that I look at being a coach is like, whoever my clients are, their goals are my goals. Their problems are my problems. And that is a huge like responsibility on my end to make sure that they are always having someone to rely on, but I'm not going to hold their hands the whole way, because I can only do so much. And that is so important for people to realize when they get a coach. Is like, when you get a coach, okay, I expect this person to do everything for me. That's not the case. You can, again, only control your actions and your perception. So by knowing that, you have to have someone that respects what you're doing, even if it is not a coach, but they have to know the game. They have to know what the mindsets are. They have to understand what you're putting yourself through. It can't always just be like, I've heard, maybe some people would say like, oh, I don't need a coach because I got like my wife, or I've got my husband, or I got someone to talk to, like a best friend.
Right.
It's not really the case. That doesn't really work. They're not going to hold you accountable as much as you think. And they're also not, they don't know what you're going through at a deep level, and like really understanding it on a level of what this profession is about. But then also what it's like to have things suck as well. Like, all these areas need to be balanced for this person. And that's what coaches do, because they know how to take your struggles and make it into a good thing and change your perspective. Coaches are absolutely necessary for coaches. And that's also where you get to learn how to be a coach.
Right.
So there's a lot of reasons to be a coach, or to have a coach as a coach.
Right. If you want to coach, it makes sense that you are coachable in and of yourself, that you're willing to learn. And this is a direct reference to the Bigger Pockets podcast, but the guy was talking about, I can't even remember his name anymore, the monkeys in a barrel method. And that the monkeys in a barrel, you think about it, they're all reaching up and reaching down, and it's the free flow of information. And that I want to pay somebody that's smarter than me, that has done what I'm trying to do, that has solved my problems, to help me solve that problem, to buy down the time. And I'm absolutely reaching down to people that have less information to pass that free flow of information, so we can all help each other. Like, we're all just here trying to learn and grow together. Mm-hmm. So what are your next steps as a coach? Where are you going?
It's a great question. I have a lot of ambitions.
Yeah.
I have, being only 24 right now, I still sometimes think that I'm 50, 55, 56, whatever age it is. And sometimes I let that get the best of me, thinking that I have to get everything done now. And so right now, the biggest thing that's important to me is to develop a community. I really, really love being able to spend time around in a group that I can guide. I'm creating a retreat. So I just hosted my first retreat back in November. I'm hosting a second retreat, which is going to be in April, and I'm so excited for that as well. This has been something that I've always wanted to do, and now I'm stepping into that, exploring more places for growth and to support people in, especially in an immersive, all-inclusive situation.
Absolutely.
That is so transformative. I'm doing workshops here in Da Nang. I'm doing group sessions online. And so I just want to keep building and just bringing more people into this world of self-mastery and what it means to be mastering yourself and on this path of self-mastery, and just give them all the tools necessary for that. And I want to help people discover more about themselves, to be able to recognize that it's like you have everything that you are really capable of doing. And a lot of the times the only thing that's holding you back is yourself. It's every single time. That's pretty much what it is. And that has been the thing that I've been wanting to share with the world and try to get out to the world. How can I support others more? And so it's, how can I just grow that more and more and more and more?
Yeah.
That's my whole thing that I'm working on. And eventually I would like to build I guess you could say like a university campus. Okay. It's not necessarily like for college students, but it's for like a self-mastery school, or I could say the School of You.
Incredible, man. Sounds like a really beautiful journey and such a necessary place, and that there's so many people working on themselves, and you go to college to learn skills, or there's schools for this or that, but it's just a school of life, the School of You, the journey within.
Yeah.
What a beautiful campus that would be.
That's one of my dreams right now. The biggest dream that I have.
So, is there anything else that you'd like to say for aspiring coaches out there that are looking to get started, or have started, or in that struggle phase right now?
Yeah, the really biggest thing that a lot of coaches or aspiring coaches get wrong is the need to be perfect and to have everything figured out. No one ever has anything figured out. I have a really great friend who's been a coach for 20 years, but he is finding himself be a little bit more broken than he's ever been in his life currently. And this doesn't mean that he can't be a coach. He's been a coach already for a long time. And he's finding that he's been working on himself for so long, and trying to become better and better and better. And this can get overwhelming, because like thinking that you can get to an end point or a certain amount of clients or a certain place in life and still not have everything that you want, that hurts a lot. And especially for the people that are working on being a coach, it's like you're just gonna think about being a coach for the longest time of your life and wait till everything is absolutely perfect or ready, or until you have read enough books or experience. And eventually that just is going to really hurt yourself, because you don't need it all. You don't need to have more. You don't need to be better. You don't need to have anything new. A lot of times you can be a coach just as the person you are today. You already have you. That's the biggest asset. People don't necessarily buy the program or what it is that you're offering them for what they're gonna get the transformation. Of course that matters, but a lot of the times the biggest reason what they're like investing into is you. Just to have someone that feels like they can actually listen to them and understand them on a deep level, to see that, wow, you really care, like really, and you want to see the best for me, and you're, even if you don't have all the answers, like that's okay. I just like you, and you're willing to listen to all my problems and to help me find my goals and to achieve those goals. That's seriously what a lot of coaching is. It's just being there for someone and to help them get to those goals. Because you have experience. I mean, of course, there's levels of experience that you'll hire out. It's like you don't hire someone that just got into a business as maybe like a business coach.
Right.
The person that becomes a business coach is probably a person that has a lot of business experience.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like mastering your emotions, or if you are looking to be like someone that's just a yoga practitioner or a yoga teacher, you can still be a coach for these things. Even it's like the things that you're teaching now, you can be a coach in those things, or the things that you enjoy right now and you do like as your personality. That can be your coach right now. Like, you can be a coach in that. There's a girl that I know that's a meditation coach. Meditation is a seriously inward journey, and I don't know how you can be a meditation coach if it's inward and you're just basically learning about meditation as you go. But that's the whole process. It's like some people want to be better at meditating. And that's how you can position yourself as well. It's like, you know a lot of stuff. You know how to do things. Maybe you don't have it all perfect yourself, and that's okay. In some cases it matters, and in some cases it doesn't. It really depends on what kind of coach you are. And this just, again, comes down to you telling yourself a story on what you believe that you think you need to make it validated that you can be what you want to be. You don't need anything extra a lot of the cases.
Right. Take action on what you already know. You are enough. You have enough. Get started. Then as your needs come, you can educate yourself further.
Exactly. I find that when I learn and I don't, like, becoming a coach, I wanted to just do a lot of work and take action on things, but at the same time, I forgot the process of how I became a coach. And so I lost touch with that version of the person that was inspired and always learning and growing, that I felt like lost because I wasn't continuously learning. And so being a coach, right? Like, if you're not a coach yet, really pay attention to what you're doing now that is inspiring you to be a coach, because you must continue that. If you're reading a bunch, if you're doing the practices, you got to keep doing these specific practices for the rest of the time that you want to be a coach. And really understand why you want to be a coach in the first place as well. If you have this, then you'll be able to be grounded, and you'll still continuously have a lot of like motivation and leverage inside to just push through any adversity, because there's going to be challenges, a lot of challenges.
When you have a strong why, you can withstand any how.
Exactly.
Incredible. Sam, thanks so much for coming on and sharing with me today. I'm so grateful that you had the time, that we could make it out here. Thanks to Vietnam Nomad Fest for putting us here in this beautiful space. Thanks for everything, bud.
My pleasure, Sean. Thank you for asking amazing questions and sharing what it's like to be a coach.
For people that want to connect with you, where can they do that?
Yeah, so I'm a real person, and you can find me on majority of platforms, Instagram, TikTok. Look for me, The Real Sam Gute, Gute.
There will be links in the comment section below.